Schools are no good. You have no jobs.
Take the ticket. If you want to dispute it, I'll see you in court.
Oh, I get it. Wakanda forever.
Oof, okay. The film Burden, starring Nick Fury and Paulette Washington, examines the struggles of Black men and what they face in America. Film is directed by Chicago native Nathan Williams. He joins us this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
He brought the energy, we love it. Okay, Paulette Washington is in the film, Denzel Washington's wife. I mean, we'll get to that in just a second, but just give us an overview. This is kind of a passion project for you.
It is. You know, I was on tour for my previous film, 90 Days, and I was in a hotel. It was April 2018, and if you remember, it was the two men that got arrested in Philadelphia in the Starbucks for doing nothing, for waiting for a meeting.
And waiting while black.
Waiting while black. And if you remember, that was after a string of various incidents that were happening, you know, people getting called while they were having a barbecue, you know, unfortunately, the man that got shot in his own home, all of those things. And so the best way I know how to address my feelings and my emotions is to write and to create. And so I came up with this film. Nick Fury, who stars in the film, along with Paulette Washington, was in my previous film. So I kind of catered it around him. I wrote it in June of 2018, and then we shot it in February 2019. And it really chronicles what it's like to walk through our society as a black man and all of the macro and microaggressions we face every day.
I want to ask you too, because I know you're born and raised in Chicago, lived in LA and New York. In these three big cities, do you see the same problems? Are they no different where you go, or do they change slightly?
Well, the way the problems manifest themselves change. I think that, you know, obviously I've been blessed to live in the biggest cities in our country, but bias and racism and discrimination exist everywhere in our country. I think that in the bigger cities, in the more metropolitan, cosmopolitan cities, it's masked a little bit better, and that's what we show in the film, is that it isn't the overt racism in your face. It is the subtle things, and it's not just, you get it from everyone. You know, you get it, he gets it from the jewelry store clerk when he goes to the jewelry store, who's played by Alexandra Gray, who is the trans actor who is in Empire now. So she's starring in Empire. He gets it from everyone, and I wanted to chronicle that. So yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's a little bit, it's, you know, they say in the South they'll spit in your lemonade and smile at you. You know what I mean? Yeah, and so it's kind of like that.
You guys are trying to obviously not have a movie, but a movement too. My burden is your burden, a hashtag you guys are trying to promote forward. What's behind that?
So I believe that film and entertainment have a very unique ability to build empathy and to give a voice to people. And I want to give a voice to men of color, black men particularly, in a way that it hasn't happened before, to share their different stories about their burden and what does that mean. Miss Paulette plays Yahweh, the divine energy. She asks Bennett the question, this burden you speak of, is it a state of mind or a state of being? And so we're trying to get 100,000 black men to share their stories. Hashtag My Burden Is Your Burden campaign that we will launch officially March 1st. We did a soft launch on Valentine's Day in New York. So we want 100,000 black men sharing their stories, you know, across our YouTube page, and just giving a voice to black men in a way that we have not been able to see before.
Right.
I love this. I mean, you mentioned the incident that happened at Starbucks a few years back, and what happens after that is that people get afraid to discuss race. People of color get tired of talking about it, and then people who are not of color, white people, they're afraid to ask questions, and they don't know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And something like this is creating an opportunity to have a conversation so that growth can continue to foster. It's awesome. Thank you for doing that.
It's my pleasure. It's my purpose. It's what I was sent here to do. And I also want to say we do it with comedy. This film is funny.
Oh, really?
You know, it's not heavy-handed. It's not, and it's not blaming anyone. It is really meant to enlighten and empower and challenge kind of how we think about it, because we make assumptions that everyone knows what it's like.
Right.
And you know, like I said, I created this film primarily for corporate and organizational diversity and inclusion programming and training. I think that film has an ability to do things that traditional training does not. And so we've been working with various corporations. We have one here in Chicago, a commercial real estate company that we're doing a program with on Thursday, to get people talking, having this dialogue about bias and race in a way that is not combative, to have those uncomfortable conversations in a comfortable way where everyone feels heard. And that's how you grow, that's how you build empathy, and that's how you make change.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much for being here this morning. We really
Thank you
appreciate
so much.
it. And there's going to be a screening of the movie Burden tonight at Stage 773 beginning at 6 p.m. Head to blackalphabet.org to reserve your tickets.